Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. This is the third episode from this wooden house construction, and we're gonna show you today how we installed the floor joists, how we did the OSB on top of that, plus other bits and pieces. So as you can see on these images, all the walls are done, all the external walls have been lined with 18mm OSB, and some of the internal walls will also be lined with 6mm OSB. So before we actually start the installation of the joists, we have to do the top plate, the second top plate in some of the places. As you can see here, we already did in some places, but we still have a bit to do in other places. So I'm gonna show you how we did that, and I'm gonna show you why we do it this way and why I think is a better option than just having just one top plate. Okay, I'm gonna show you now what I'm talking about. So you can see here two plates. You can see that the first one on the bottom running across, and then the other one just butt into it, and then the one on top is the opposite way. So this one goes all the way and the other two are butting against. So this is how we're going to do all our top plates. And here you can see the entrance into the house. This is gonna be like a porch. We're gonna have a flat roof, and we're gonna have probably 5 centimeters for fall. Ideally we wanted 10 centimeters, but because of the measurements and because of the height of the ceiling, I think we might end up with a very low ceiling. So we're just gonna do 5 centimeters fall over this porch. Is just under 1.5 meter wide, so I think 5 centimeters should be plentiful. That you can see, so that is pretty much where the floor level will finish. It's about 200 millimeters above the concrete slab. Over here you can see we have a big timber. We have a big timber. I think it's 20 centimeters by 10 centimeters. That will take some of the rafters, because this area where I am now, it will be exposed. You will see obviously the rafters, not the rafters. You will see obviously the plasterboard that will be sitting on the rafters. So we created this wall just to obviously take the weight of those rafters. Also, we have two long posts located, one there and one on the other side opposite, so they are about 7 meter high. We obviously need to cut them a little bit, but what they does is we wanted to incorporate these posts in the actually wall structure. You can see here is in between two walls, and this will take obviously some of the roof weight. It will be the same with the other one, so we're just gonna have our ridge sitting on these two posts, and we're gonna have more on the other sides. But because we have this post and they was that long and they was pretty straight, not perfect but pretty straight, we decided that would be very nice to have them incorporated in the structure, and this way they obviously gonna be, everything will be more rigid. Also, I think it's important to say that all our corners and all our wall intersections will have a 10 by 10 centimeters post or a 4 by 4 inch post. This is not a must, but I think it's a good addition. So all our corners, external corners and in wall intersection will have a 10 by 10 centimeters post. Now I'm going to start the installation of the floor joists, and I will try to explain the best I can what I'm doing. So we're going to use timber that is 6 by 2 or 6 inches by 2 inches or 150 millimeters by 50 millimeters, and this is the exact measurements, so 150 by 50. On these images you can see me inside the house, and my colleague is passing me the timber from the outside of the house where they cut it, they measure it, they cut it, and they pass the timber through. Now, because we want these floor joists to be bolted together with the rafters, yeah, so every joist will be bolted together with the rafter. We want to cut the angle for to sit nice and flush with the rafter down, obviously, before we doing the installation. So this is what the boys doing outside. They they cut the joist to the side, and then they cut one angle on one of the sides, because in the middle we don't have to do that. And I will show you later on how we join this joists in the middle of the house, because they don't run from one external wall to the other. They just run pretty much halfway, and they will get joined on the half. So we are spacing this joists 350 centers, so basically in between the joists will have a distance of 300 millimeters. This was the option, obviously, of the owner of the house. You can do 400 centers, but I will not do any more than 400 centers. Here is a closer look of how I installed these floor joists. You can see me putting one end onto the middle wall, and then the other side obviously on the external wall, measuring 300 from the last joist to this one, and then secure it with 6 nails per end, so 3 on either side. So if anyone is wondering why we did this joists in timber that is 150 millimeter wide or high, and we haven't used a bigger timber, is because above this will be a loft, and even if there will be 2 rooms in this loft, they won't be rooms that someone will actually live in there. So basically they will be like guest bedrooms, just from time to time if someone will decide that is gonna stay there overnight. Obviously there will be a bedroom, but apart from that, which I don't think will happen very often, apart from that, obviously no one will live there, and it will be just a loft. So this why we didn't obviously install any bigger timber than this. Okay, speaking about this floor joists and the distance between them, I think you should never exceed 400 millimeter centers. So basically you should never have more than 400 millimeters from the middle of one to the middle of the next one. So 400 is a pretty standard measurement, and everything that goes above that and is bigger, you might end up having a flex in the floor, and there's obviously, if you have tiling going on or flooring going on, that obviously might have an impact of your flooring. Also, it's very important to have noggings on these floor joists in between. You won't see them here because they've been done after, but we'll definitely have noggings every 6 feet or so. I'm gonna show you now the floor joists in the position. You can see them, they all space even. They obviously overhang on the other side of the wall a bit, and we connect them together with a 500 millimeter block in between, the same kind of wood, the same measurements. So the reason why we did that is because we want the rafters to be connected and bolted together with the floor joists. So in order to do that, we want to make sure that our rafter is exactly where the block is, and this way they will obviously be connected, one on the left hand side and one on the right hand side of the floor joist. I hope that makes sense. So you can see the block in the middle, that is exactly where our rafters will meet, obviously, the floor joists. At the moment they've been secured with 8-9 nails from the either side, so basically that joint has like 18 to 20 nails, plus they will probably have 2 screws or bolts with washers and nuts on a later date. Another important thing when you installing floor joists is that you check every single piece of timber to see if it has a crown. So basically a crown is when a timber is not straight. So you will find that most of the times most of the timbers are not perfectly straight, so you will have that has a crown. You always have to make sure that that crown is obviously at the top and not at the bottom, because if you put it at the bottom and the crown is obviously facing down, you will have a dip in the floor. So when you start obviously put stuff in the room and the pressure will press down, that can get even worse. In the other way, if you put the crown up, so the pressure will obviously press down. If you're lucky, that might get straightened, so you will have a straight floor, or even if it is a bit like that, it doesn't obviously make it might not bend. But if you do it the other way with the crown down, it might get worse. So always check your timber and make sure if you have a crown, the crown is always up. It's good to obviously mark on the timber. This is what we do. We do an arrow facing up, and when we lay them, we make sure that the arrow is facing up. In these images, you can see us installing the posts for the purlins. They will take the weight of the purlins and obviously of the rafters. We want to install them this before the OSB. We want to have them installed in the actually structure, so they will be much stronger. And then we're just gonna obviously finishing with the OSB everywhere, so we can work safely. The OSB is 15 millimeters thick, and we are not going to glue this down. We are just gonna install this OSB using 6 centimeter screws. If you're planning to have this done and you will have a room there that will have obviously traffic, because someone is gonna be walking every day, you have to consider gluing this OSB down if you don't want to have any squeaks. Also, we left 3 millimeters in between the boards just because we want to leave room for the expansion and contraction, and we didn't want this to obviously squeak. If you going to do this on a floor that will be obviously part of the house and someone will be living there, you might considering using ton and groove OSB or chipboard, but you're definitely gonna have to use glue and screws. Let me show you a closer look of the OSB installation. We pretty much did most of the house. You can see we left a 3 millimeter gap all around and we staggered the boards. I said, but I will repeat myself, there is no need for glue in here, but if you are going to use this as a normal floor and someone's gonna be living on the floor, obviously it will be a bedroom or something like that, you will have to glue this to the floor joists, and you will have to use glue in between the joint of the boards. And here you can see me cutting these angles again. We did cut it when we obviously installed the joist, but we did it wrong. I think because we obviously changed the roof pitch in like after that, but I don't think that was the only problem. I think we haven't taken into account that the rafters will have a bird mouth, and then obviously that will bring the rafter a little bit lower. So now I'll have to do it the hard way. I'm just gonna have to cut them again one by one, but nothing that we can do. Mistakes happened, we just obviously have to deal with them. This is everything for now. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the video, and we have one more video coming very soon where we're going to show you how we did the roof. So by then I'll say thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.